Suns fans, you know what time it is in the PHX.
Empire of the Suns.
Phoenix Suns.
Empire of the Suns.
Hello there, and welcome to the Empire of the Suns podcast. My name is Kellen Olson, joined as always by Kevin Zimmerman. What's up, man?
How's it going? We have a lot to catch up with this episode. Don't remember when we last podcasted day-wise, but there's been the Jaylen Green return and then injury. Obviously, the Suns are exciting and fun, which we kind of foresaw last time. But yeah, where do you want to start?
We kind of foresaw last time, but we were also like, okay, let's see how it looks. And it's a different version of the conversation of like, okay, let's see how it looks. Because what we have established is the Suns are 8-5. They are one of the surprises of the league so far, if not the biggest surprise. I'm looking around. Maybe people say San Antonio 8-3. Maybe the Raptors and the Heat at 7-5 will get some love. But if you're looking at the Western Conference specifically, they are certainly, I think, the biggest surprise, and including San Antonio. And we're in this portion of the schedule, and this is not, I don't want to come across as a certain way, because you and I are certainly going to embrace what the team has become so far. But I think you'll join me in just being super excited to see, like, okay, what is this exactly? Because we now know there's something here, but what exactly is it? I wrote about that last night. We're recording this on Friday afternoon, like you said. We hadn't podcasted since Jaylen Green came back, then got injured. We've got Grace Snell injury to talk about. Kaman Malawatch and Rasheer Fleming are in the G League tonight. A lot to get to. But for now, is that this team has clearly built up something, and it's time to figure out what that something is. And instead of me being vague, I'll be more specific. It looks like this team is good. And over the next month, plus probably like 5 weeks, we are going to find out and get confirmed, basically, if they're good. And then the extra step forward is, like, could they be more than good? Could they be very good? Could they be great? Because right now, they're putting up great numbers. They're one of 5 teams in the league that's top 10 in offense and defense right now. That's excluding garbage time. They have done this against a very weak schedule. 7 of their 8 wins are against teams that have at least 8 losses. And those are teams, like, when you look at like the net rating rankings, like they're all in the bottom 10. Pretty much. That San Antonio win really the only signature win that they've had. And then, of course, in some of their losses, they've been down and it's been ugly. But that was also early in the year when they weren't playing nearly as well as they are right now. So all of this together, again, is just you and I and a lot of people listening for sure are very excited to see, like, okay, Atlanta on Sunday, they're playing decent. They don't have Trey still. Tuesday, Portland's playing decent. And then on a week from today, on Friday, they host Minnesota. And then from there, it's like the Western Conference gauntlet that you expect at some point in your schedule. Every time you play in the West, it runs through Christmas. And it's like, okay, is this, again, good to great? And we can define it further. Is this a team that could make a run at a top 6 spot? Is it just kind of like a scrappy team that fights for a play-in spot in the last month of the year? Are they a certified play-in team? There's like tiers of this we kind of have to figure out, and we don't have to like place guesses right now, because it's more about finding out along the way what they've done. But they've got something, Kevin. Like in the preseason opener, JJ Redick was like, well, once I heard from Coach Ott that like they had started training camp basically at the start of September and had everyone in their building, it was like, oh, that explains all of that. And to me, what they're doing right now explains all of that in that kind of way, where they've got so much buy-in. They've got a system that maximizes all of their players, and they're doing the thing with the possession battle, which we'll get into here with the numbers in a minute, that every team wants to do successfully right now in the league. That's like what the new modern Moneyball version of NBA basketball is right now, the possession battle, and they're doing it. And the result is a good basketball team that is outperforming what it should be doing.
The simple way I'll say it, I think Mitch asked me, and I filled in for like a pregame show with him, and I don't even remember what he asked me, but I basically was like, I think it's just like the coaching staff is good. Like,
Jordan Nutt might just be really good. Yeah.
Like the idea seems simple. It's what we've been talking about for 2 years, but you're getting buy-in, one, which is important. You're getting, like, you can just watch a basketball team and see, oh, they got broken down one-on-one, but the rotation came and then they scrambled back into position by like the third rotation. When that stuff's happening, that means players aren't thinking. That means the players know what to do. That means they at least have established something where they're all working together as a team, which is the most simple things that we did not see the last 2 years. So at this point in the season, I don't even care what happens the rest of the way. They could win 25 games, 30 games, 42 games. Like, I think it seems pretty clear to me that this coaching staff has gotten that across to them and what they want. And then you take it a step further, establishing roles. Like, this starts with Book. He's been playing awesome. We can talk a little more about him in a little bit, just like how little he seems to be on the ball, overexerting himself. It's not there except in crunch time when it really matters. And we talked about optimizing people. That's optimizing your best player. But then you go down one by one. Like the benching of the last 2 games has just been the thing that I don't know. Like they're getting them out of holes. They're pushing other teams like that. You look at the on paper lineup, Colin Gillespie, Oso Iguodala, like that shouldn't be happening. I don't know if it'll continue, but I just think that this team has found confidence down to the individual too. And then when you kind of look, the schedule's going to get tougher. They're going to take more losses. The Golden State game last time was, I think, a good example of like, if they don't play well, they're going to get crushed just because of the talent level. But I do think that this has been a very important start because I've been talking about since preseason credibility with the coaching staff. I think they've checked those boxes already. Even going down to Brian Gregory touting, like he went out of his way to talk about Grayson Allen being in really awesome shape this offseason. And that was at media day. And that's when you're like, okay, well, you're probably going to try to trade him, right, dude? And now it looks like he evaluated that correctly, where Grayson Allen was playing his best basketball as a pro, I would say, without watching every single Utah and Memphis game he played. So just a lot of good stuff from the team aspect and then the individual aspects, I think.
Well, I think so. Again, to further define things when we can say stuff that sounds kind of vague and we're not like really going into detail with specifically what we're saying, let me run through a couple of guys on the roster. Jordan Goodwin was literally here 2 years ago. And look, he's he's gotten better as a basketball player, obviously, in the last year or two. But he came in here and they tried to make him the backup point guard.
Yeah.
And the Suns are like, no, just do defensive havoc stuff with all the switching we're doing. Hit a three.
Yeah.
Do a dribble drive, do a little bit of initiation when we need you to. That's it. And it's going really well for him. Also, last year, Kevin was like, I don't know what drop coverage is. I'm going to learn that this year. He has to learn at some point. I understand. It's the NBA. But now it's like when he comes in, and on a night like last night when Mark Williams doesn't play because the second night of a back-to-back, let's just switch the whole game. And Oso's plus 52. Grayson has been further, not encouraged, but just the pace at which you need to play for Grayson Allen to be the best version of himself is happening right now. And they are not picking and choosing when they're going to play slow and when they're going to play fast, which was an inevitable choice that they had to make in the past. I really don't want to spend too much time or much time at all. Like the cold water should be dumped on my head right now, using last year as an example, because I really don't want to do that at all going forward and just talk about what this team is right now. So with that, and what I was teasing earlier, Kevin, they're top 10 in offense and they're top 10 in defense, but more specifically what they're doing is right now they're 8th in their own offensive rebounding percentage and they're 9th in opposing turnover rate right now. That is the possession battle to a T. And if I look through right now and see who else is actually doing that in the league, it's Detroit, who's 10-2, Portland, who obviously is there, the Knicks, who were 7-4, and then it's Phoenix, and then Cleveland, who's 8-5. So every team that's top 10 in those categories specifically is at least good basketball team right now. Like there's no random, like, why is Charlotte good at this stuff? It's like, no. All the good teams are maximizing this possession battle deal. And last night was a perfect example because Indiana was actually really good in this stuff, as they tend to always be, and they were a team that rode it last year. They grab a few more offensive rebounds, they get to the line a couple of more times, but turnovers are down the line. The Suns have way more points off turnovers than Indiana, and it's one of those things where they shot 21% better than Indiana, and it was a 45-point win. What a novel concept. Again, and this is a situation where you can just win a lot more basketball games than you're supposed to when you're doing this stuff well. And then to the trend of like the last 10 years or so, they're taking a lot of threes and they're making a lot of threes. They are fifth in 3-point rate right now. These are clean the glasses numbers, by the way, which exclude garbage time. If you're looking somewhere else and they look funky, that's why. And they're shooting 43% from three right now. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Like that's you can take any team. It absolutely helps that Devin Booker is a superstar and he's playing first team all NBA basketball. It absolutely helps that when Grayson Allen gets hurt, that's when Dillon Brooks decides to score 30 plus. It helps that Grayson had these huge games. It helps that Royce and Grayson are shooting the crap out of the ball, but that goes into what I'm talking about, where again, if you're just winning the possession battle this much and you're making your threes while taking this many threes this much, you're just going to keep winning. So the line in the sand moment for me, and what we teased with going into at the start of the episode, is what we haven't seen yet is what happens when the threes aren't falling, because that's coming.
Yeah.
Indiana was just here. Oh my goodness, Kevin. I had it in the recap and then took it out because the game was just a mess anyway. They came into the night shooting 30% from three on the season. And you can take any NBA roster with an amount of NBA injuries, and 30% is too low. Like, no NBA team should be shooting 30%. They're just going through some horrible shooting luck right now. Again, go through their roster. It's like, how many three-point shooters do they have? How good are they? It's not what I'm saying. Take a bad shooting roster, and they should shoot like 33, 34.
Yeah.
Like, 30 is crazy. It was 6 of 11 games coming into the night, Kevin, when they failed to crack 30 in general. And only one game when they went above 35, and it was 36. So they didn't even have like a hot shooting night yet. They haven't even had one. So like that shooting luck, quote unquote, is coming. But the point is the controllables are all in line right now for the Suns. They're a good defensive team. They handle the possession battle, and they just keep getting threes up anyway. So I'm curious to see what happens when the threes stop going in, because it is going to happen. Like last night, for example, all those shots for Dillon Brooks are going in. It's awesome. It's great. We know there are going to be nights when they're not going in. And like, what does it look like when it happens there? So 3-point percentage by game this year, 29% against Sacramento. That is like the anomaly here. 34% in each of the blowout losses to the Clippers and the Nuggets. There's kind of the point right there. Utah loss in OT, 36, and then 40 against Memphis, 35 in the win over Utah, and then by number 58, 36, 39, 42, 44, 40, and 37.
And what is Grayson's update? Because that whatever happened to him in that game last night is going to obviously take away one of the most prolific and also best shooters in the game from your roster.
Can I you see me putting my finger up on the
videos?
thing?
Yeah.
This is my fault.
Uh-oh.
This is my fault.
What'd you do?
He's just always like had like which game was it? I think it was 2 home games ago where he had that really rough fall when the game was already over pretty much. And I just kind of joked to him. I was like, illness, fall, like there's always something with this guy, like joking with him. And he just took a knee to knee. Just like the most random, like the type of like long strides drive that he makes like 25 times a game or whatever, like 10 times a game. And then he catches a knee to knee. And I joked to him when I saw him walking out, and I was like, that's on me. And he's like, oh, you're fine. He was limping when he walked out. There wasn't like I hate doing like was he in a walking boot? Did he have it wrapped? Was he limping? Because I remember one time like 2-3 years ago where I tweeted that out where like so-and-so's in a walking boot, and then they played the next week. So
yeah. Or like Cam Johnson had his quad contusion And it was like, oh, quad contusion. That just means you got kneed hard. And then it was like a month or something great. I don't remember how long, but yeah, never want to guess on
Exactly.
those. Yeah.
These are the injuries where it's going to be listed as a quad contusion for at least a game or two, and then it's like, okay, Jaylen Green's hamstring, whatever it was listed as, or Dillon Brooks's injury was listed as like a whatever it was, and then it was core muscle strain instead. I think it was like
And
groin
you were
soreness or
always,
something.
yeah, or oblique. No, it was core. I don't know. Anyway, that one was like, oh, that might be a long time. And then he's back. And it's like, oh, okay.
So we'll see, but to your point, that is a lot of your 3-point volume right there. Grayson, I believe, is top 5 in the league right now in terms of 3-point volume, and then obviously like the amount of makes, efficiency, all that kind of stuff. He's way up there, nearly 9 a game right now, 8.8. But Dillon Brooks is back. He was missing for a handful of those games, 6 of those games, in fact. But he's not like the level of shooter that Grayson is or even Royce is. Collin's going to get a few more up now. It was interesting that Gillespie started the second half, not Ryan Dunn. And because I think Jordan Ott, rightfully so, sees how well the gears are spinning offensively and how many threes are getting up and just doesn't want to compromise the spacing at all. And that goes back to not comparing from years previous, but look across the league. You and I trained rightfully so by how previous experiences and how normal NBA rosters go, see this roster, and we're like, oh God, it's just a bunch of 6'5" guys. What are you doing? Well, what they're doing is what you're supposed to do with that many 6'5" guys is
Yeah.
run up and down and get a bunch of threes up and play havoc switching defense.
And
And
it,
yeah.
it's crazy how much the drives just look so much easier. The lanes are just so much more open because of that spacing. And it's not like they didn't try the last few years. I mean, we talked about Bud had like lines spaced out, but it's just how the stars like operated within the system, and this year just looks so much cleaner. Um, I want to point out a couple of really wonky things that have nothing to do with anything, if I may, really quick. One, the Grayson driving game has been very fun to watch around his 3-point shooting, which has been awesome. Just like you don't think Grayson Allen is a mixtape guy, but he does have pretty good like high school mixtapes, and he's like back. That's how good he's been on his drives. Just the Euros, the Hezzies, the like that one where he does the pump fake on his first step, or I guess it's your second step. Driving. So that has been super interesting to watch because obviously the 3-point stuff's going to get all the attention. Like, dude should be in the 3-point contest, but the driving has just looked a lot cleaner, and I think it's by design. It's more open as a team in general. Like Royce O'Neal is still getting layups, and like last few years is like Royce going to the rim. I don't know if it was going to work so well. Second, very small, interesting part of this team. We were talking about backup point guard. Even when Colin Gillespie is on the court, if he is sharing it with Iguodaro, oftentimes it's Iguodaro who's bringing the ball up. And I think that's the perfect example of just like a small thing like, hey, you're super limited. You're struggling on your floaters. You don't have a shot. You know what you can do for us? You can bring the ball up because let's dare them to have their center way out at the half court line, putting any sort of pressure on a ball handler. And that actually helps their tempo. It does bring the big further out. So then if he does make a pass on that early in offense or getting up the floor, then the center's not as far back sitting, waiting for other guys. So I just think that kind of really small thing. Also, again, it takes the ball handling duties off of Book and Jaylen Green. So just one tiny little thing like, oh, so bring the ball up when you can. It has a lot of good reasons, and it's working even if it's not like the biggest volume, but just like the attention to detail, I think to that tiny level has been impressive. And that's, again, credit to the coaching staff.
Yeah, odd is again, if the pace holds and they're a team that's fluttering around 500 or a little, they're realistically going to be a couple games north of 500. But if they're around this mark, like Ott deserves Coach of the Year praise. Probably should be talking more about him. Probably should be writing more about him. But that's also kind of like the way that job works sometimes. And I'm sure he doesn't care at all about recognition or anything like that. I'll have to ask him tomorrow about buy-in and stuff like that because that is like the secret sauce here, clearly. because something that we're really not going to talk about on this episode, but you should be aware of, is I wrote a story a couple of days ago that half the Western Conference is going through a nightmare right now. Like even the Nuggets, who are awesome, like they're top three, I think, in offense and defense. Cam's just averaging 7 points a game right now, and longtime listeners, real Suns fans, like he's hurt. Obviously, this is what Cam does. Him and Mikal would always have stretches for like 3 weeks where it's like, brother, just rest. We know something's going on. Just take it easy. But I'm sure he has like hype and expectations and all that stuff. I'm getting to his head, but it looked like they pulled him from last night's or the other night's game after like 8 minutes. And I was like, yes, whatever you guys aren't listing on injury reports, just let him sit for a month.
Jokic is fine though. It turns out Jokic is still good. Like holy cow.
You have the best player in the world. Just let your star acquisition rest for a month and like play in May and June. Like he needs that too. But to give the short surmised version, Clippers, it speaks for itself if you've seen it. Dallas, Cooper Flag running points not working. Anthony Davis hurt. Gafford hurt. Lively hurt at certain points. Lively's coming back tonight, I believe. Davis still out. They fired Nico, so are they going to sell all of a sudden? The Pelicans are even worse than possibly imagined. Willie Green's going to get fired any second. Feel terrible for him. It's just an awful situation that's been developing there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Now Memphis, this jaw stuff, if the minute back and forth with him in media in his first time back from suspension, when it just seems like absolutely nothing has been resolved at all and is still as toxic as possible. And then on the court, Kevin, he doesn't even look like a top 20 point guard anymore. Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing like fouling out in games again, like he's doing that nonsense. So half this conference right now, I didn't even mention the Warriors, who are 500. Like they're probably still going to win a lot of games. It's crazy. Like all of this, like you and I were fully anticipating like Lakers as like the team that was going to blow up in dysfunction madness. And like they're fine so far. So point being, there was a way for us to like talk about this type of start to the season for the Suns and be like, oh, well, like, you know, we'll see what happens. But because half the conference is a dumpster fire right now, like every Utah, I think, is starting Ace Bailey because they're too good. We're like, we need Ace Bailey to come in here and muck up this game because we're too good. And then they hung 152 on Indiana. They lost Walker Kessler for the year, and they might be too good, but they're just going to start trading guys in December or something. Like they refuse to be good every year.
Laurie, you're hurt. You better be hurt. You're hurt.
Exactly. It's him and Keontae George is the guy who's playing unbelievable. And, like Keontae George is going to have like a shoulder strain at some point here and miss 4 weeks coincidentally.
Does Danny Ainge know like if you're rebuilding, you should trade your good players and you get them at some point, or like try to like you? He just was like lost in like 2 years ago. It's like, dude, you know it's okay, right? You're allowed. You're allowed now.
There's some like, is it like the gambler's fallacy? Is that what I'm thinking of? Where like you keep losing so much that eventually you're gonna win. And he's gotten screwed so many times on the lottery now in the last couple of years, where he's like, well, I've lost this many times. I refuse to not keep losing until I finally get the number 1 pick or a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
A good point. So that's the West right now. We went through the injuries. Jaylen Green, we should just have the combo briefly, looked fantastic in his debut. David, our Australian correspondent, pointed out defensively that he looked good, and I thought so too. But offensively, there were a few of the Jaylen Green shots, and guess what? Like with Dillon Brooks, you're going to get the Jaylen Green shots. That's fine. It's everything else in between, and everything else in between looked awesome. He looked great. And then he re-aggravates his hamstring the very next game in LA. He's going to be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. I would be shocked if he's back by the end of the calendar year. Like I expect him back in January. Expect from me, the person without sources who's just been a basketball fan long enough to know how this stuff kind of works and has a good idea for how to guess on these things. Whenever you re-aggravate like a groin or a calf or something the second time, it can be months. And that's what I'm expecting. I feel horrible for him because, again, what we were just talking about with Cam, it's like he's getting hyped up not only for him to show himself in a new situation, but for him to be like part of this Kevin Durant trade. See all the headlines written by people like me saying like this is a garbage trade. The fit makes no sense. Like him and Devin Booker together sucks. And he came back and showed that that was not the case in a game, and then immediately got hurt. So do you think now, because we've been so positive for 20 minutes, I can finally enter like partially negative parts of the conversation in? Um,
Go for
do
it.
you, let's say Grayson misses like 2 weeks. Do they still have enough working right now where they can overcome that, or are we at the point now on offense where it's just they're asking for too much? Because Grayson, like we're thinking about 3 point volume, he's at like 5.5 assists a game right now, 4.5.
He's also at, was he averaging 20 points or something after the 42 point, like
So
how
he
many?
was at 4.3 assists per game, 18.5 points per game after the
Okay.
42 burger. Yep.
Okay. That, yeah, I mean, he was getting, I actually am gonna pull up something in a sec. He was point guard. He was second offensive initiator alongside Book. He is the guy that Jaylen Green was supposed to be, basically. So yeah, I think whether it's Gillespie, whether it's Ryan Dunn, however they do the on ball stuff and in the starting lineups in the minutes, I just don't see how you make up for it because then those guys are pulled out of what they were doing already. So it just compounds the issue of not having a second initiator. So yeah, I think it's going to be painful, to be honest. Obviously, if he's back sooner rather than later, then everything will be fine. You can survive without Jaylen Green, but the roster is still, I would say, lacking heavily on the firepower individually.
I think that it's gonna be on their defense and like um just it's simply like Book, right? Like,
Yeah.
but then again, like last night was, oh, it's a foul fest. And then he just started getting the free throw line, and then it was like, oh, Indiana's coming back, and then he scored or assisted 16 of 18, and then the game was over. It's like, yep, that's that guy. We called him the bad man back in the day. Remember that? That
Yeah.
guy's back.
It is funny how much he's reverted back, especially on the foul baiting stuff. That's like I feel like I haven't seen that in even when he was with Chris Paul. I don't know. I could be misremembering because I have a terrible brain, but that was really like when he started to come up like third and fourth years, I would say, where he would just like, oh, I'm struggling. I'm not getting the touches or the spots I want. I'm just gonna go get fouls and then I'll get in a rhythm. And then suddenly things will start falling my way. Like the very like what Eddie Johnson has said ever since he's been on the Suns broadcast about just go get it, foul line like rhythm stuff. Like Book is maybe the best in the game at that. Harden's up there still probably, but yeah, I mean he looks that awesome as far as just finding his spots.
Another guy who looks awesome, like defying expectations for me as someone who like had multiple people who know me well come up to me at a Cardinals game a few months ago and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "You're watching Charlotte Hornets basketball right now. Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I haven't seen Mark Williams play that much. I'm gonna like see what it's about." As someone who did like the dive for like 5 to 6 games, and again, like the Vicinis and other national media people of the world who actually were watching Hornets ball, had concerns big time about him defensively. Don't know where that guy went. I don't know where that guy is because he's been, I would say, bare minimum, he's been an average defender. And I think you could go as far as saying good. And I wouldn't call you crazy if you said very good. Positioning, again, it's like the thing where like Nick Richards is a 10 out of 10 on like the feel for being where to be and like that being a problem. Mark's still scoring on the scale, but it's much lower. But man, it's isn't it such a novelty? Like this is very curmudgeon-y of me. Isn't it a novelty to have like the 7'8" guy, 7'8" wingspan guy just constantly waving their arms?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's what Wemby should be doing every single possession. Like when he's in a drop like that and the guy is looking to kick it to the weak side corner or whatever. There's been a couple where right wing, side pick and roll, the ball handler's driving right, and then Mark is the guy in drop, and you know that guy, the roller is coming, so the weak side guy is coming down, and it's like, okay, the guy in the far side corner is there. And Mark has his hands up, and the guy's like, I can't throw the ball in the weak side corner because the 7'8" guy is going like this.
Yeah.
And he's
And
just been good defensively, and we already know offensively he's very good. And the great news so far is we're 3 weeks in, and there haven't been injuries. We don't need to have the back-to-back conversation until like March, honestly. If he's sitting for back-to-backs through March, but he's staying healthy in the meantime, that is a huge, huge point of progress for the Suns. And even if we're at the All-Star break and he's missed like 6 or 7 games outside of the back-to-back stuff, that is still big time progress. Again, to remember the Ryan Dunn thing, like remember where we were a year or two ago and remember where we are now. Like there's a huge gap right there. So this has been the biggest success story is the team, but the number two is not only how he is playing, but how he is trending so far. And again, we're not sitting here saying the Suns have made the trade, like they've got 2 amazing centers and all that kind of stuff. It's a wait and see. But for right now, again, every game I watch him on defense, I'm like, it's just fun to watch him.
It's fun to watch because, and again, this is like just trying him out on, hey, sometimes you got to switch on Steph Curry. You know what? You don't need to try to go get in Steph Curry's grill if you're guarding Steph Curry. Again, when you have a 7'8" wingspan, like you can stand like, I don't know, 5 feet back and have at least space to recover if he tries to drive on you. Your arms are still going to bother the crap out of him. I forgot whose jump shot he blocked the other day that was just like, oh, I can get this off, but
our sweet boy, Brandon Williams, who we always totally believed in.
Oh, yeah, Arizona great Brandon Williams.
Yeah, we definitely didn't trash that team on this podcast and trash him specifically. I don't think we were that hard on him, but it was like we were like, this kid's talented, but I don't know what he's supposed to do here. This team's a mess.
Sean Miller didn't know how to use point guards, but
Jason
anyway,
Kidd does though, baby. Let's go.
He probably should be their starting point guard. Anyway, I think he has been lately. But yeah, like that was a good example of like, I think I can get this shot off because Mark Williams is standing like 10 feet away from it. And he's like, no, he's actually not because he's very tall. Like it's deceptive, I think, for those guys. But anyway, yeah, like just how they've like taken the risk and be like, try something new, Mark. Try something new. And he's trying and he's like owning it, right? Like he's trying his best. So I think like that empowerment is important when you're talking about new things, people who are limited. Give it a shot. Do you have anything else? I have one more item to bring to your attention, sir.
From our perspective too, I will add, seems to have a great attitude, which again, like if I was dealing with that for like 4 years, like the Brad news drops and everyone's like, why would you feel bad for him? He makes millions and millions of dollars. Like, I don't know, do the thing that he's loved and done his entire life he's prevented from doing right now and it's out of his control. That kind of sucks. Like if my fingers magically stopped working and I couldn't write anymore or couldn't write for 6 months or 9 months, I'd probably be pretty depressed and I would feel really bad.
You could talk to text and it would be fun, Kellen.
No, I wouldn't. I can't. I need the clicking. I need the clicking for my OCD. You know this. Is your item the rookies?
Oh, no. I mean, we should talk about that real quick.
We should talk about the rookies. So, Kaman Malawach and Rasheer Fleming assigned to the G League tonight. This is something that we'll wait and talk to Ott tomorrow, but I assume when I walk into the facility after practice tomorrow that we're just going to see Kaman and Rasheer there. Yeah. This is something they did last year. Oso and Colin, when the Valley Suns were in town and they were playing a home game while the Suns were on a homestand, would just go to Mullet for a night, play there, and then kind of come back just to get some like run, because Kaman and Rasheer and a bunch of these other guys towards the lower end, this is like the stay ready so you don't kind of get ready games, the Langston Galloway games where you're playing a high-end scrimmage basically after practice, before practice, some other time to keep your legs fresh because that's really the only option that they have. And this is just a different version of that. I think G League basketball quality-wise is getting better. It's still pretty trash, so I don't like guys being there too. Like college is putting up a triple-double every game, and it's like, yeah, of course, because like that's just kind of what the G League is in certain circumstances. But it's honestly, that's what I'll ask you, because I think that's what this is, and people don't need to overreact, and then we can talk about in a minute like if they should be playing or whatever. But is the G League more about cardio or actually reps? Because I think it just might be more about cardio. Maybe I'm hating on the G League product too much here.
I think it more and more is becoming about reps because I've not watched any Valley Suns this year. I'm sorry. I'll openly admit that. I assume they run something very similar, run plays similar, same terminologies and that kind of thing, so that you can translate and teach. I think that's the idea of them anyway. So I think there is some value to that. But again, like how well do you execute it? Probably not as well. It is good though because like what the Suns have done, one, just like it being 15 minutes away from their home arena is helpful just to do these things. But two, like you have Kobe Brea, Huntley, you have guys that they've played with in training camp back on that roster. So it's not like just some foreign, like I wrote the story today, just the news story of them being sent down. And it was like when Jalen Smith went there, one, it was during the pandemic, so a lot worse situation, but they didn't have a G League team. They sent him to the Agua Caliente Clippers. And can you imagine like going to the Clippers affiliate and being like, hey, we are sending you a guy. Can you please play him? And then they're probably like, no, why would we do that? But we probably have some contractual agreement where we have to, and it's assignment probably. And here's 16 minutes, and we'll try to pull you during the most important moments. Like that, the times have changed is where I'm going with this. Like Braun is assigned to the G League, probably not going to play in games. I looked, the Nets assigned three of their, did they have 5 first-round picks or 4? 3 of them went to the G League for 2 games earlier this season. So
Yeah,
it's not
Drake
like,
Powell did, I think, for them. Yeah, it's not really common, but people seeing a number 10 pick down there shouldn't freak out. And again, it's like
yeah,
it's a glorified practice for them.
when it happened to Jalen Smith, it was bad omens about that situation, but the context right now is completely different. And yeah, like, would you like to see Malawach playing in the rotation? Like, we probably started our first podcast when the season started about it, and like, why aren't he and Rasheer Fleming playing? I don't think you can make that case anymore because like Ott's doing a good job with the center rotation. Oso just played his best game, and like I think that competition's even good regardless because you're just forcing him to get better, and he's answering the bell after awful start to the year, just looked jittery, missing shots, and then he comes out with that performance. So I don't know. I'm not concerned about it. I think the competition's good. I think if you're winning, you just keep doing what you're doing.
You
Fun fact,
gotta
yeah.
Arizona UCLA is at 8, but
Mhm.
I'll be on the air unfortunately. But you gotta watch that first half, buddy, because you saw who they're playing, right?
Who?
The Rip City remix.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Young,
Because guess who's assigned to that team?
Young
Speaking of this
Hansen.
being more valuable than just a bunch of random
Oh, wait,
dudes,
is it Young Hansen or Hansen? Yeah, because the jersey is on the
It's Young Hansen is how they
Young
are pronounced.
Hansen.
Yeah,
But like,
Hansen. I don't know.
are we flipping the names when we say his name? Because I know it's flipped for some
I don't
instances. I
know.
want to make sure we're good
I
here.
I
Okay,
got confused on that. Everyone's saying yeah, Hansen last name.
I'm just saying Young Hansen. That's what I'm saying.
Caleb Love is also there. So
Oh,
like you're getting
that's such
some.
good juju for tonight. That's
It actually,
unbelievable good juju for tonight.
our coworker Alex is looking at prices, and the prices are actually pretty up there compared to even Suns tickets. Because I don't know why. I assume it's because you're like close up. Like I don't know. Like the seats are all pretty good in that arena. I don't know. Anyway, worth a if you listened to this before the game
Oh
tonight,
yeah, go.
you should
Yeah,
go.
Cole. Someone from the Suns texted me and asked if I was going, and I'm gonna reply like, I actually wish we didn't have a show tonight because I would want to go to
Yeah.
see Yang. Like I would want to go to see Yang anyway, but then obviously come on, Rasheer. I believe if you're listening and you want to watch it back later, these used to be like on YouTube,
It
but
said
now there's like a
yeah.
G League ESPN Plus deal, but like for the Valley Suns home games. I believe they're on Arizona Sports Family, but the website today said it's on like a delay. Suns
Yeah.
Plus, so if you have like that League
Streaming
Pass thing,
service. Yeah.
if you have the Suns Plus League Pass thing, you should be able to watch it with that. I'll tweet out wherever like the link is to watch it. Once there's like a
Correct.
link to like
Um,
physically get there. I still think Rasheer should be playing right now. I stand by that even with how well they're playing. Um, I still think that he should be playing, but again, they clearly know best at this point. They've always known best anyway. You know how I am with these types of talks. They're behind the scenes. They see more. They know far more about basketball than I do. Still think he should be playing. So glad he's getting reps. And Malawach about a week ago was the Richards minutes have been tough. Last night was tough too. It's just the same stuff, and that's where it's really unfortunate where we can dump the ice water on me. Last year it was like, okay, like this was a absolute joke clown car fest that he just got thrown into while the car was going 65 down a hill into an explosion. You know what I mean? Like he had no one had any shot of
no.
coming into this team mid-season and playing effective basketball. And even then, like he had some good moments. So it's like, okay, and now we see how well everyone is playing right now. But again, it's like he's just a step late on like the amount of goaltend he's had like 5 or 6 goaltends this year where he should have just been there. He should have been there a step sooner. And how much longer the coaching staff is going to ride that, knowing that Malawach is going to make not the same mistakes, but the same amount of mistakes, if not more mistakes. But he's going to be come on Malawach, which is a lottery pick who is inevitably going to impact games with how large he is, and how he moves. And he's just going to find a way to do that. But it's just you're going to have to ride with the negatives a lot. And we see this right now in different versions across the league. Rob Dillingham should be playing for the Timberwolves. But what does Chris Finch not want to do? Watch a young point guard turn the ball over and over again while he learns through his mistakes. He's trying to get to the finals this year. Like he doesn't have time for that stuff. The Suns are in a different lens, but they're trying to do a different type of thing. So they don't have time for that. And it was very telling that like my basketball eye, whatever you want to call it, like I'm making it sound like it's this big deal. My untrained eye, there we go. Malawach was the guy that was sort of out of position more in the preseason, like far more. But post game after that Lakers game, Ott like referred to like half the time like Rashid's like not even in the right spot, basically.
Yeah.
So apparently he's got a lot of that to do as well. Hopefully we see those guys sooner rather than later though, because again, even if they are playing very well and like chasing a play-in spot and like we're in the moment and feeling all this is really, really good, I'm still gonna be here sitting on my long-term hill of like you got to develop the young guys. This is not just about this year. Dillon Brooks is about to turn 30, Grayson's 30, Royce is 32. It's more about those other guys kind of coming in. It's great to see Ryan. It was great to see that after they had a slow defensive start in this game where like again Richards was really struggling, he brought in Oso, Ryan, and Colin all together and was like defense and attention to detail and energy
Yeah.
in the game with 3 guys, boom, and it's the young guys, which is great to see because again, that's the player development and trusting the young guys part that we're seeing just in different ways.
And I wrote a while ago, just I think the timeline for me to start seeing, and I think I'm just guessing here again, like I think Ott will start doing the Livers or Nigel's Hayes Davis minutes that I was going to give, I will give to Rasheer. The Knicks Richards minutes might go to Malawach. Like I would say around December, later December, mid-December. I think that's when we need to start seeing it because like it's important to get them those, even if it's like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, in the middle of real games, not just the blowouts like last night. So I think there's the value and you can slip them in and put them alongside some good players to kind of cover their mistakes and that kind of thing. But yeah, I agree. I think the time's coming soon though.
What was your one more thing?
I was saying this to my wife last night and probably the night before. Tim Ring tweeted it. Devin Booker smiling more? We reading into it too much?
Yeah,
You think?
he was smiling a lot last year. People forget. It sucked. Don't get me wrong, Kev. It sucked, and there were a lot more sad faces than this year. I'll give you that. But I mean, they were still laughing, having a good time, even when they were losing. Remember, there were those shots on the bench of them laughing, and people were like, "You're losing in Memphis.
Like
why are you laughing?"
Like the Derek Anderson. Why are you laughing? I wasn't laughing.
Again, they got along.
Yeah.
By all indications, not everyone got along, but they got along. You know what I mean? So
it just seems maybe more joyful because one thing I know.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. But like the
fact,
direct, like,
yeah, no, but like the one thing that's adding to it is anytime Dillon Brooks like baits Derek Queen or whoever into getting a technical or getting pissed off, like they always pan to the bench and there's like always 3 guys just like losing it. Like, oh man, Dillon just got them in the trap again. And like, that's
Vince said this morning that after one of the Brooks shots early in the game, he stuck his tongue out on the way back and just didn't break eye contact with the defender they shot it over. And then Vince looked over at the bench and everyone was just laughing.
There was, yeah, I don't know if you might have seen this because it was 2 games ago when they're on the road, but before tip, Dillon Brooks was like doing his normal, like getting in the groove, dribble between the legs stuff before tip. And the Mavs cheerleaders were still in the middle. and there was like one cheerleader, he walked right up to her and wasn't even looking at her. Like, I don't know what he was looking at, but she kind of like was still doing her dance routine, but she was just like, this guy looks like insane. And then like as soon as they broke their formation, whatever, had to get off the court, she just like, I'm out of here. That was weird. Incredibly funny moments. That that dude's existence, I think, is adding some. I'll say that for sure.
It's adding some for me. He's my favorite player to cover on the team this year for like all of those reasons because I've got like a kerfuffle counter that I'm going to keep throughout the year, which we're at 2. I
We
ruled
should publish that, by the way. We should just actually have a if you have
go back and like
notes.
find them. I can, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean I can look up the time and the date and like take videos if you want. Yeah, we can do it. There were 2 like halvesies where it's like brief little thing and then they separated, but
Yeah.
I counted the last night's was funny, which I count as a full one because me and K Ray talked about it at halftime, and he was so right. And like this is the way I saw it too. Like Dillon was just getting in Siakam's head really early, and
Yeah.
then that's why TJ went over there. TJ like went out of his way to go over there because I think he saw Dillon talking to Siakam again, and he was like, "Enough of this dude! Like, leave my star guy alone. I need him tonight. Get mad at me instead." And then Siakam just got mad at Royce, and it was like, okay, this game's over.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I saw Siakam do that to Royce, I was like, oh, this game's
Like,
over.
yeah. Ben Matherin had some weird talk. I don't know if you were in but he was like talking to Dylan, like looked serious, but they're also both Canadian. I think they've been on the national team together, probably. And then TJ McConnell went up to Dylan because they played against each other, and obviously it was just like messing around with him, and they were
Yeah.
chill. Yeah.
That's like a one of us thing where Dylan sees TJ and he's like, that's one of my guys. Like that's
Yes.
just like that's one of we're
Um,
cut from the same cloth. But no,
it
that's the and that's like to your point. I asked him, and what I'm mentioning about like covering him too. I asked him because certain guys, I don't think I've ever asked this type of question to anyone before, just because I never felt like they were as open enough to talk about it. But I was like, when's the last time you weren't confident on a basketball court? Because he seems like an ultra confident dude. And then he proceeded to rag on the Grizzlies GM for telling him to only take 6 shots a game, which Memphis people reacted to a lot today. Apparently, Kleiman told him to just like take 6 shots a game during the Lakers series because he wasn't hitting shots. He was going through a slump. And he said, I wasn't confident anymore because I had all that noise and it gets to you. And it's like, yeah, when you come here and they're like, Dillon, be Dillon. Go ahead and take all the shots you want. Do all your antics. We'll support you the whole way. Because I think even in Houston, you could see like he was playing a certain role.
Yeah.
And now they're doing like the full be Dillon, Dillon, be Dillon. I'm not saying this is like unlocking the best version of Dillon Brooks. I don't think it's going to be clear. But it gets everyone on the team animated and hyped up. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that Ryan Dunn looks like a psycho this year. Like, what's wrong with that guy right
Jordan
now?
Goodwin's been especially edgy. But anyway, to go back to the inside baseball of content creation, if you could do a tracker of kerfuffles, I think that would do well for the website. You don't have to, find every video, but I think it's important journalism to like track,
Yeah, this has legs. I'll admit, this has legs.
We'll talk about it later. I don't want to make more work for you because you're a busy man already, but I think
it's not the more work part. It's like the pulling for the headline stuff where I have my issues with, but this does have legs and should responsibly be done by a journalist, and I am a journalist after all.
You are. Yeah.
We're gonna beat UCLA by what, 25, 30?
I've known nothing of UCLA.
Okay. They're actually really good, but I'm just talking crap. But Donovan Dent's one of the best guards in the country. I think they have a couple guys on their team that are pretty underrated. Like this Bilodeau kid they got from Oregon State 2 years ago is pretty good too.
Mick Cronin's not likable though, so
I
think most other
teams
teams,
like the worst.
Most supporters of any other team can agree with that, right?
He always comes at your boy.
Who?
Justin Spears. Is that who I'm thinking of? Who does a great job covering stuff in Tucson?
Oh yeah.
He always comes at your boy. He's like, it's the Tucson guy asking me questions.
He did do that a few times.
He's asking he's just asking nice questions. Like he's not doing it in any kind of tone, man. You weirdo.
Yeah.
No, I know, but they have a pretty good team. I'm worried about Dent specifically because I don't trust our guards right now. But We'll see. We'll see. I just want to beat UCLA. This is the game I care about. These are the ones in March.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No. Let me do what I always do to show how much we plan for this podcast, and at the very end, tell you when we're going to be back. We'll be back before the Timberwolves game, which is going to be on Friday. So at some point, probably Thursday, I would imagine, is when we will be back podcasting. That'll be after games against Atlanta and Portland. Hopefully, we get like some injury news. We'll have like Kaban and Rashir to talk about. Maybe there's multiple. I looked at the schedule. I don't think there's like another game in Tempe for a week or two. So we'll have at least that one game to talk about. But Atlanta, Jalen Johnson, you and Mitch bought a lot of stock like a year and a half ago when it started for him, and we're going to be rich.
He's
rich.
my fantasy basketball stock. He's one of those guys. I'm just like, I'm drafting him again. Gonna do it. Yeah,
that was a good decision. I don't know how fantasy basketball works totally, but he must have had like 47 million points yesterday because he went nuts.
Yeah, it was something close to that. Yes.
All right, everyone. We will be back next week, and thank you for listening as always. I'm glad I don't get to sign this off with like some ominous like hope you guys are doing okay thing like I had to after every week last year.
Congrats on doing great, everyone. Congrats on doing
congrats on living your best life. Isn't this awesome? Embrace it, everyone. We are. Bye.